Thanks so much, Jan.
You're welcome. So sorry about that.
Oh, please, no. I mean, golly, I know you were a little hesitant this morning about coming in with that, and
Yeah, because you know why? Because everything else I practice a lot with the band and everything, but that song, it's like in rehearsals, I usually only do it like once or something because, at the end of rehearsals everyone leaves and I just stay in the room and I do it. So I don't have enough practice. So
yeah.
at least I didn't mess up the words this time. I do that sometimes.
I thought it was fantastic.
Thank you.
So thanks for sharing that one with us. That turns up on the album Tidal from the work group, the debut release from Fiona Apple, who is in studio performing live. On the album itself, it's actually featuring a string arrangement by Van Dyke Parks, who wraps the arrangement around the demo performance that Fiona had.
Hearing that song on the album is really cool for me for two reasons. Because first of all, it's kind of about, my dreams for doing this. You say don't fear your dreams. Like, I mean, if you look at the lyrics, like, there's a lot about, just my relationship with, people, but also about, like, me wanting something and not knowing if it could ever happen or if it could never happen, So that's one reason, because it kind of makes it a little ironic that it actually that sentiment ended up on the album, ended up on the dream,
Yeah.
But also I think it's pretty cool because I listened to my voice, and that was a completely unsuspecting voice. Like, I didn't know that any of this was going to happen. When I made that tape, I hadn't met a manager. I hadn't sent out anything. That was when I first decided. There was no record people involved in that recording. It was just me in this little studio with a piano. And then later on, Van Dyke Parks did the strings on it, and that's actually another funny thing, because I had never played with a band before, so whenever I would get like passionate about something, I have a problem with tempo.
Speeding up.
Here it speeds up, and if you listen, it's like poor Van Dyke Parks poor string players had to like play along with my screwed up tempos. You can hear them kind of chasing the music in the song as I get faster when I get more excited.
But that's kind of cool, because obviously it's coming from the right place. The music is coming from where the fire originated.
Yeah, I think it's cool too.
yeah, and it's kind of exciting to hear it that way, because you never do. It's always locked in to, time codes and.
I think it's cool to have it like it's natural, and that's what music is about. It's not about like, tempo and all these things are guidelines around which you are creative and you make up your own rules sometimes. And if you want to make up your own tempos and you want to just have no tempo, then that's cool, whatever makes it happen for you,
Absolutely. So then when it came time to do the record, they just went through all the tapes that you had made and said, okay, this is a keeper, this one we want to try to redo, this one, and probably some hadn't even been recorded yet.
Yeah, there wasn't such a wealth of songs though. Like, I basically wrote all I had to write. There's a couple of songs that I wrote that weren't on the album, and of course many songs that I wrote like years ago, but I really am not somebody who, I'm not very,
prolific.
Prolific, exactly. Yeah, so
how many songs would you say you have in the notebook, in the catalog?
Are we including like 11 through 18?
Yeah, if you still have them around, if there's still songs that are,
well, I can't play
in
them
existence.
anymore, but in existence, like I have them on tape.
Yeah. The early years.
Right, very early years.
I feel a box set coming on.
Right. I don't know. I have no clue, because it's like sometimes I look in notebooks and I find songs that I completely forgot about. I mean, not that many, probably like, 20 or 30 in all.
Yeah.
But,
So the writing doesn't come all that fast necessarily.
Oh, no.
You said that you wrote what you had to for this album. So it wasn't like you stopped when you had enough for the record and there was still stuff to say that you didn't say, or...
There's a couple of songs that I have that were, we could have put them on the record, but the thing is that they were a little bit rushed and they weren't expressed it was like we were looking for the right music, and I really like for the music to just come naturally. I like everything to come naturally, because that's when it makes sense, then it, the music should make sense with the lyrics. It should be very natural. It should come naturally to you, like the bird of paradise alights only on the hand that does not grasp, and you can't always wait that long for the bird to alight on your hand. And so we were like forcing the music to come out. So there are a couple songs didn't come out right, so we didn't put it on the album. And it's not to say that I'm gonna like throw them away. For the next album I'll do them, but I'll do them right, because I stand by my lyrics, but sometimes the music is a little harder for me to figure out.
Does that intimidate you at all, having to bring this out and put it on stage in front of people after having, having really just your bedroom walls or your house to present this stuff? And
these are the questions that make it hard. Okay, these are the times when, like, I look at words in weird ways, because yeah, it is intimidating, but the way that I see intimidation is it's just kind of like it eggs me on to do something. When I get nervous, it's good, it's excitement, it's all, it's all good, it's all like, it's scary. All of this stuff is scary. It's all totally bizarre, but I'd rather be scared and, be nervous than be bored. And what would I be doing if I wasn't doing this?
Sounds like you're the kind of person that loved to take tests.
Love to take tests? Well, only because I knew I was going to fail, so I didn't care.
Oh. So you weren't good in school?
Oh, hell no. No. I mean, not to be like, I don't know, bad influence on anyone who, like, listens and, whatever. But I really, literally cannot remember ever doing any homework before the last 2 weeks of school. Every year I almost was held back, and the school would be like, listen, Fiona, if you don't do all this extra credit work and do all these homework assignments, you're going to fail. And, like, every year it was like that. I never did homework.
So music was really a refuge for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds a little dramatic, I guess, but...
No. I went to a bunch of psychiatrists, and the first one I went to wrote up a report on me. I had to do, like, ink blot tests, and they wrote up a report, and they said, yeah, music was a refuge, and it was like that.
Oh, my gosh. I did not see that report, I promise.
I wish I had it. It'd be cool to read it now. I don't think I really understood it then.
Let me ask you something. When you first got a response from the guy who eventually became your producer, Andy Slater, and he told you that you had a beautiful voice, I'm sure he was also looking at you and saying, here's a person that we could present to the world, and, they would find her attractive, not only musically and lyrically and spiritually and emotionally, but physically. Mm-hmm. Certainly you must have confronted that at some point where you think, gosh, I don't want people to think that, here's this...
Well, I didn't think that going in, and, like, I didn't get all decked out like going to see him. I was totally like, my hair was up and I was in, like, baggy clothing, and he still talked about, like, how I looked so different that day. I didn't think that, like, I was gonna walk in, they were gonna be like, oh, you're really, I'm in no way am I trying to be, like, modest and, like, oh, I'm not pretty or whatever, but I really didn't think like that. I'm not like one of those people that's grown up being like, oh, I'm a pretty girl. I'm not. Yeah. I mean, please, I was called dog in school for like 7 years, so I wasn't walking in there expecting.
I've heard two nicknames so far off the air. You said Granny Smith and Dog. Nice little terms, aren't you? Well, I mean, clearly, I know that's not what it's about for you. But are you conscious of the fact that are you guarding against that possible perception? The way they present you to the world,
Yeah, well, but the thing is that, like, nobody's trying to present me in any way that I am not naturally. Basically, it's been really cool because you would think that me coming in here, they would be like, okay, put on a miniskirt, write a song about a boy, and, like, bop around a little bit. You would think that that's what they would do, but everyone's really just said, literally, just be you.
Yeah.
And that's, that's the coolest thing. Nobody ever really, like, gives me advice on stuff or, everyone just kind of, like, says, just go out there and be you. And it's so I'm conscious of, like, people might look up and be like, oh, she's pretty, so she can't be legitimate, she can't be, but what can I do? I am legitimate. They'll find out. You,
as we pointed out at the beginning of the show, recently relocated to the Los Angeles area. How are you adjusting to life in Los Angeles versus life in Manhattan?
With great difficulty.
Great difficulty?
Yeah. Because I don't drive. I didn't have to learn to drive in New York, of course, and so I don't, I grew up with a lot of independence and a lot of freedom when I was younger in New York. I was going places by myself when I was 10 years old, so I could, like, plan my own days and, go and see the people I had to see, do the things I had to do. And now it's like, I gotta be like, Daddy, can you drive me over to the store? And, it's really like that, and it's really, like, kind of humiliating in a sense, but it's cool.
What's your parents' reaction to all this? I mean, your dad, as you pointed out, was an actor. Your mom, a singer, a performer. How are they reacting to this? What's their take?
They're They're excited. I mean, I don't really talk to my mom that much. Actually, my mom's in culinary school now. She hasn't, like, really sung since before I was born, and so she's really busy, and she's, like, at school all day and all night, so I never really talk to her about what's going on. So I don't really know. I mean, I'm sure she's excited. I know they're all excited. You know, there's nothing really bad about it. I don't think that if they're worried, which they're always going to be worried about everything, you know, I don't think they're seriously worried, you know, because I'm cool with it, you know.
Thanks so much for coming to see us.
Oh, thank you.
Fiona Apple on KCRW. Thanks, Fiona.
Thank you.